All right, guys. Great to be here again. I'd like to be here under different circumstances, but another tough one as we talked Saturday. Obviously, still disappointed in really how it came out, but actually, when you watch the tape, you don't feel as bad as you did Saturday. Our kids actually did some good things on both sides of the ball, and then there was the bad things we did, but. As I've said, really the last 3 weeks, this is a young football team that has not paid attention to the details like they need to. And there's always blame to put on the coaches, like I said Saturday, of things we could have done better. What if you did this? But when you look at it, it's almost at times where the young guys just, because they're in that first time situation, like option this week is going to be the first time they see some of that. So it's a whole new ball game. But you're seeing some RPOs come at you, which everybody hears about RPOs, and then when you see them, last year it was RPOs for your corners. This year it's RPOs for the safeties. Picking on the youth back there and inexperience, but guys just panic with their technique, and that's the one thing that we try to teach our guys that you have to fall back to is your fundamentals. And at times we don't do that. We kind of go, you go rogue a little bit, and you can't do that. So that's why they give us week 4, and we get to jump into ACC play, which is a positive. Nothing that's happened in the first 3 weeks really matters. I mean, really doesn't matter. We get ACC #1 against a good football team in Georgia Tech, who's got an off week, open week, to get extra rest, extra scheming, extra options, G option, trap option, veer option. They've got it all as far as the option games goes, and then defensively they're very, very solid. Ted Roof, their D coordinator, obviously Paul, I believe, runs the offense, and it's his gig and does a great job. But Ted Roof does a great job on defense. They're very sound. They're not very fancy, but what they do is what they do, and they're good at it. And they got good players too. So it'll be a challenge. Are they a top 10 team? No, but you know what? They played well against a Tennessee team and lost in overtime, and we know they're a top 25 team. So they are very talented. So questions?
You weren't happy about your own defense last week. I mean, what's the concern level like after what you saw on Saturday, and especially playing a team like this where just can't really afford to miss tackles or miss assignments?
Can't miss tackles. You got to read your keys. I mean, like I said, some guys, it's like, and even some guys that aren't so young didn't read their keys. I mean, it's like, and weren't helping. It's, you wonder where it came from. What are you doing? What are you being coached to do? And, I tell our coaches, hey, what you see is what you coach. So, obviously it's not sinking in. How do we get it to sink in? Do we need a sledgehammer? What do we do? This is a totally different week as far as what you're seeing, how you're defending the run, where your guys are located. They have some run-pass conflicts. They got you thinking about some pass, and they run it. As soon as they start running on you and break one, then you're going, oh my gosh, what do we, get the guy in there. So, but this is a totally different deal.
Jordan's listed at boundary safety. I mean, how much does that have to do with the struggles you guys have had against the run so far?
In what way?
Well, Jordan was really good at strong safety, being in the box.
Right.
It helps when Jordan separated him going from boundary to field, I should say.
Say it again. You're saying he's now at the field.
Well, on the depth chart, he's listed as strong safety.
Right.
Leading it, in spring, you had him working in field.
We had him do both.
Boundary now?
We're doing a little bit of both. I mean, he's always done a little bit of both. So, he's played both in the spring too. I think we tried him out there in the spring. He could still go out there and play it. That was the thing. We knew boundary. Let's play him at the field and see if he can do that. And the spring was the philosophy. He can still do both. I don't know where he'll be Saturday, to be honest with you. We had to put him either at the boundary safety or the field safety, so I can't tell you where he'll be. They didn't have an or section, strong safety or free safety, but he is a guy that could play really anywhere. But he'll obviously, getting Jordan back will be a huge lift for everybody. It'll take some pressure off some guys back there and get a guy that's really played in games. But again, you're still going to him. He hasn't played for 3 weeks. So it goes back to, Groundhog Day.
Do you expect him to get a full load of work, not just maybe those things in his first game?
Yeah.
There isn't a quarterback pad. I mean, sort of what are you looking for this week? Are you looking for one guy to sort of take that position, or is it more of a coaching field this week? It's
a coaching field. It's quarterback situation is, we're going to continue to evaluate. They both do some really good things on tape. Obviously, Ben sparked things with his feet and his athletic ability and what he can do running the ball. And and he does some great things, which we know. And Ben does the same. I mean, Max does the same thing in the passing game. Doesn't have as much, ability to run the zone reads and all those things. Although I think he's capable, but we haven't wanted to really get him banged up in there as well, just like we did with Nathan Peterman. But then Ben does some things in the passing game that scare you too. So we just got to kind of find out who we are, what we're going to do this week on both run and pass, and figure it out.
Was there any thoughts of giving one of the younger guys a chance Saturday, especially McVitie, being that he's
Not right now. I mean, I wouldn't lie to you guys. I told you in camp it was really a two-man battle, and the other two are still too young at this point. But if one of those other guys gets hurt, it'll be one of those young guys will be getting reps. But it's hard to get 3 guys ready for a game. It's hard enough getting 2 guys ready. Those 2 guys have been the guys from the beginning, and those are the 2 guys we're going to stick with.
I guess we'll find out Saturday at 12:20 or 12:25 who's making the start.
Yeah.
Is what they do this week in practice good? You know what they can do, obviously. What they do this week in practice, will that impact at all your decision?
Of course it will. Of course it will.
Or do you have your mind already made up?
You have some thoughts. Coach Watson's got some thoughts, and we all have thoughts together offensively. Talk to the whole offensive staff, but we all have thoughts. But it all, if you come into practice and you fumble the ball 3 times, or you throw 3 picks, on Tuesday, and you do the same thing on Wednesday, who are you playing? I mean, some guys can make some plays with their feet, but if you turn the ball over, it's going to hurt the team big time. And and we've done that 2 weeks in a row. And you're minus. In the turnover ratio, it doesn't help anybody. And we've got to sustain drives this week. Sustaining drives are going to be critical against that run attack. You don't know how many series you're going to get. Every series is critical because when Georgia Tech gets the ball, they can go. And they'll grind up and have a 15, 18-play run drive, and the whole first quarter will be over. So Marshall can run.
Yeah, when you've got such a young team and they have such a tough day, I mean, is it different getting them prepared, getting them to bounce back as it is an older group that has sort of got the scars and shown that resilience?
It is, and it isn't. I mean, they're all different. Every team you ever coach is different, I think. Sometimes these young guys, in this new millennium are different than anything you've ever dealt with, too. So, it's hard to tell where they are. We'll find out Saturday afternoon where they are, really. But it's hard to read sometimes.
I think Georgia Tech ran for like 240 yards last year, which for them, I mean, that's not too bad for, defensively. Did you guys have more success because of experience last season? Is that? We'll
find out, right? We'll find out. Chris, I thought we did an okay job, but a lot of their yards came on the toss play where they, motioned over and got into almost a quads unbalanced set, and did a nice job. So they, we took away some of their option and dive, the normal stuff, and they're running toss play. So. Obviously, we'll try to stop that this year and try to stop the option at the same time. But they'll have another little wrinkle for you, as Paul always does. I mean, he does a great job at, at the end of a quarter, timeout, halftime adjustments last week, or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I guess, Tennessee. He did a great job and got, their quarterback, Marshall, loose for, I think he rushed for 240 yards or something like that, 5 TDs. So he'll find ways to beat whatever you do. So it doesn't matter, what you do in the first half. It's 60 minutes, but the experience, as opposed to not having experience, I think it's also coach's experience of coaching it and knowing that we've done this for 2 years. Here's what they're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do different to fix things from last year. And it's a game of chess.
You're obviously somebody, Pat, with a very impressive defensive background, but in your also past 13 games against Power 5 teams, you are giving up about 40 points per game. In your 3rd year, I mean, defensively speaking, what really hasn't, what hasn't taken hold to get that defense to the point where maybe some of your...
It's a good question. I don't look at all the stats, the points, the yards. You'd like to look at the wins, and the wins are the only thing that matters, to be honest with you, because I've given up a lot of yards and points and still won games in the past, and it's where offenses are going. Look at the scoreboards. I mean, these spread offenses, the RPOs, when the linemen are running down 5 yards down the field and no flags are being left out of their pockets, you're hanging out there a lot, and you can mix it up and they can rush for 400 yards, whatever it may be. But that's kind of where the game's going. I mean, you see it everywhere. You look at the scores; it's people scoring 60 points everywhere. We need to continue to recruit, and we need our guys to be coachable. We need to do a better job coaching and play one game at a time.
With the younger defense, do you find yourself getting more hands-on as a head coach on that side of the ball?
No, not any more than I normally. I mean, you're hands-on every day. I mean, you're in those meetings. You're out there with the kids. You're out there watching the tempo of practice, making sure it's fast enough. Trying to work the tempo the other day. I mean, you can only do so much in a day. There's only 2-hour practice, so you're hands-on as you can be. At every position.
With the way that college football is going, like you said, it's great. If you were just getting started in the profession, would you maybe gear yourself toward offense or defense? And how did you become a defensive guy?
This is old school questions here. I started off as an offensive guy. You know that.
Yeah.
I like football. I don't care if it's offense, defense. To me, it's teaching, it's coaching, and I'd like to still. I would never change. I'm a defensive guy. I play defense, and I would never change. As far as wanting to be an offensive guy.
But it's the toughest side of the ball to coach, isn't it?
Yeah. So you looking for the easy way out or what?
Not me.
That's right. Me either. I'd rather play defense, coach defense. That's why we defer. Did I answer that?
That's why you defer to start the game?
Yeah. Play defense. Didn't work out good, but.
Talk about the guys need to be better at reading their keys defensively, but at the same time, how do you just get them better tackling wise? I mean, that kind of let up some of the huge plays.
Yeah, well, that goes with reading your keys. It's about being in position. So if I'm reading you and I don't read you properly, whether you're an offensive lineman or receiver, and we got guys playing off the guys giving too much cushion. Okay, at times, and that's fundamentals. We got linebackers not helping out in coverage when it's pass, it's clearly a pass or a run, depending on what it is. So all those things, it's being in position to make those tackles. Okay, I can take any one of the Steelers DBs, and if I put them in open field with a good tailback, they're going to make half those tackles. They're going to miss half of them. Okay, that's not good. We'd like to make 85 to 90% of those tackles, but it's all about being in position to make those tackles. It's not about the tackling itself. Okay, and then you got to look at the player and the guy that's making the guy miss too. But it's being in position to make the tackles and staying on your feet. But when the more space you get because you don't read your key properly, the more problems you're going to have.
You talk about 60 points a game, but I think it's 4 touchdowns in the last 10 quarters. Going back to the Youngstown game, I mean, what is not happening offensively? I know you got a new coordinator, I know you got a new quarterback, but you've got experience at other places on the offense. And the results are not quite the same.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. We're doing a lot of good things schematically on both sides of the ball, and when you look at the offense, I mean, we're doing some things. We just got to make some plays. I mean, we overthrow a big ball the other day, which is inexplosive, and we lose. We lose a couple. We got some guys open that we're not finding or hitting, with both quarterbacks in there, and we're throwing it to the wrong guy at times. I mean, it's just it's youth, and in the run game, it's blocking the right people all the time, and in the details, just like it was for the Penn State game. It's details against good teams that get you beat.
On the depth chart, this was in according to what we saw in game 2 Saturday. Is the right tackle position sort of in flux a little bit? Booker played there a lot. Herndon came in at right guard, and now there's a 4 there. Just what's going on with the O-line?
Well, I mean, we obviously gave up 2 sacks Saturday, and I think Jared played a little bit better last week than but we giving him a break too. So we're trying to rotate some guys in there that we think we can. Like you guys said in the summer, you're gonna make some moves and get some fresh guys in there. In the past 2 years, we've played 5 guys. We haven't built any depth at all, and then we've gotten a bowl game and lost a lineman, and all of a sudden the guy's playing for the first time. So we've kind of said we're going to build some depth there, and Jared obviously needs a blow just to see what's going on and know he's got pressure on his heels because Booker can play right tackle as well, and Herndon getting a lot of his first game work as well. I mean, it's another young guy that was a D tackle and still playing a little bit of D tackle as well as Brandon Hodges can go in there. So we got some guys that we can rotate, and we're going to try to keep those guys fresh if we can.
Is this going to have Brandon Hodges available this week?
Yep.
What has Shantez Moss shown you the last 2 weeks?
Shantez has been good. He's explosive. He's got a little different gear. We like Shantez a lot, and he's practiced better the last couple of weeks, and it's paid off on game day.
When you look at the kind of atmosphere and kind of in environment that there was on Saturday, you know, where you're playing the top 10 team on a pretty day, and it's still only about half full there at Hinesfield. Does that maybe alter how you maybe approach scheduling moving forward, where if you're not going to get big crowds eating against that kind of quality of opponent, where you maybe
I'm worried about the fundamentals. How about that? I'm worried about the details I talked about. I can't worry about all that. I mean, you can go talk to someone else. You can talk to Heather. I'm worried about putting the best product that can on the field. That's all I can worry about. So, I mean, there's not enough time for me to worry about what that looks like. I don't even know. I don't even see it. You know, I don't even hear it.
As far as the schedule goes, so does it maybe kind of push you more in the direction that if we're not going to get huge crowds even for good teams, I might as well schedule a team that's, you know, maybe in a smart conference so we have a better chance of beating? Does it push you in that?
We want to compete. I mean, you know, we want to compete against the best. I don't care. I mean, you guys are worried about wins and losses. At the end of the day, you know, the only way you get better is to have good competition. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know, let's go, you know, schedule somebody else. I mean, we want to play the best, and our guys, you know, want to play the best. And I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the crowd. I'm worried about our players and what they're doing on the field, and that's the only thing we can control.
That is Paul Johnson's offense work because, as you mentioned, since offenses are changing, are defenses changing to those offenses, and now his is sort of like a change-up essentially for a lot of defensive coordinators, maybe?
Say that again now.
So
you lost me on that question.
No. So you mentioned that offenses are changing, run pass option, spread, all that.
Right.
Is this offense you're going to face a different look, and that's why it's worked for so long, essentially?
No question about it. I mean, Paul hasn't changed, you know, through all his years, and you know, and through all the year. I mean, option teams are option teams. Triple option teams are triple option teams, and that's what he's been. He's never changed. He just, you know, at times he's gone no huddle. That's about the only thing he's done. You know, huddled up or no huddle, and we'll practice some of the no huddle stuff this week because they did it 2 years ago to us. We did it for the entire year, so we'll be ready for, you know, the tempo as well with the option. But you know, Paul does what he does. You know, and just like most offensive coordinators are going to do what they like to do, what they know. It's like telling you guys to go, you know, be doctors. We'd be in some big trouble if that was the case. I mean, you can't change who you are. You guys do a great job writing and reporting, and Paul does the best job with the option. You know, he knows his answers. He knows if they do this, I'm doing this. You know, if we're stopping the option, I'm running toss. What's what they did last year. And it, you know, for them, it's a different. For everybody they play every week, it's different for that defense. It really is. It's totally different. It changes everything you do defensively going into that game. I mean, you're changing everything.
That being said,
that's why we practiced it all during camp as well. So it's not. This won't be the first day our guys are seeing it. Our scout teams have run it before in camp, and we've practiced it throughout fall camp, at least 10 minutes a day.
That kind of answered my question. I mean, stylistically, you couldn't go from maybe two different. I mean, it's one thing if you're playing somebody on a given week. I mean, that's like the hyper version of. You'd like
to. You know, you're watching tape, and it's like, just tell these guys that the corrections and the attention to detail that we are correcting yesterday is for Syracuse. I mean, it's what Syracuse. When we go up to Syracuse, that's what we're going to see. The same exact stuff. So how are we fixing that is going to be the key. But we're telling them now, but they don't have to fix it for 2 more weeks. And you know, this is what we're going to do the next time we see this. Those are the things you're doing. But it's totally different.
A lot of young guys played on defense in the second half. Anybody really stand out to you when you watch the film?
You know what? You know, I'm glad you asked that. It's another good question. You know, there's guys that stand out to you, and then you know Jalen Williams, guys, played his first snap. Okay, and you know, and things happen, and you know, and coaches get mad when guys don't do what they're supposed to do. But I'll give you just one instance of a young guy. You know, Jalen Williams played his tail off. You know, and it was impressive. And I got after him about 2 weeks ago. I called him. I could show you a text message. I called him on probably a Thursday night or Wednesday night, texted him on a Thursday night and said, you know, Jalen, if you keep practicing like that, you're going to the scout field. And ever since that time, you know, he's picked it up. I said, you got to practice. If you're going to be a backup, you got to practice. And he's really done, you know, a fantastic job. Now, he gave up a big pass. Everybody thinks it was probably Dennis Briggs and a missed tackle, but the backer, Jalen Williams, didn't help him at all. Number 3 runs right by him. Jalen's job is to knock the heck out of him. If you knock him down, he does a great job. If you run by him, you did nothing. Okay, how about just do that to him? But he didn't see him. But to Jalen's defense, it's the first time, he didn't get in against Youngstown State, he didn't get against Penn State, and that's the things that that happened. And that's just one great example because it ended up being a big play. And everybody looks at Dennis Briggs and says, what happened to Dennis? It, really wasn't all Dennis's fault. Now, Dennis is trying to get there, but we're supposed to push him to Dennis, and the guy ran away from Dennis. So it was the total opposite of what Dennis was coached to do. And when Dennis Briggs is in with Sean does it for him. And then Jalen gets in first time. Hopefully, Jalen never lets it happen again. We're going to play Syracuse and probably see the same exact play. If Jalen gets in, he won't, that's what you hope as a coach. And, and if he fixes it, you're going, there we go. That's what coach. That's why we're called coach. And if he runs by the guy again, we'll all be pulling our hair out. But Jalen played well. DeMar Hamlin played well. Although DeMar didn't see some of the same stuff early in the game, but it was just good to get his feet out on the field again, which you guys saw that coming. Theron Coleman did some good things. Thinking defensively. Chase Pine did some good stuff. It was good to get Chase out there more. So, like I said, that second half there were some good things about it too.
Did DeMar before we wrap up? Did DeMar mostly play boundary or field? Between both?
He played mostly, to the field. He mostly played field safety. And again, did a solid job out there. He hadn't tackled anybody for a long time, so.
I know the answer to this question, so
Why are you going to ask me?
Because it's easy to verbalize. It doesn't matter if I say it.
I'll let you answer for me.
Well, how important would it be for Paul Johnson to know Max Bryan is going to be the quarterback or Ben DiNucci is going to be like on Monday rather than Thursday or Friday?
Well, Paul doesn't care because Paul just wants to know if he's running the G option, the trap option. Ted would probably like to know. It's important, but they're practicing all the same things. Whether put it this way, this weekend, if Max is out to run the zone read and he does this, they're still accounting for him. Now they know it's not a big a threat, but it doesn't really change much what they do based on who they're playing. The offense is not changing a whole lot, except then there's going to be maybe some more keepers. Maybe you just call it you call the quarterback to keep it. You're not even reading it. You're just saying keep it and let him go. So those are things that, but they as you watch the tape, they're not they've played zone read teams before. They played quarterback keeper teams. They played us before. So it's not a big difference, I don't think.
But it's important for you to keep the information to yourself as long as you can.
You know the answer, I guess, Jerry. I mean, ask me twice and you know the answer. And I'm telling you, I don't think Ted Roof is a great football coach. I don't think it really matters.
Not as much tape on Georgia Tech as most teams, but from what you've seen, does this quarterback throw it a little better than some of the guys they've had previously?
He does now, but the kid before was really good. But Marshall can throw it and run it. I mean, he slings it pretty darn good for a guy that used to be one of their A-backs and then, transitioned to the quarterback position. He's athletic, he can run. We got to find the right scout quarterback this week. I'm not sure we got one yet, so we're still working on that. That's the details of who's going to be that guy. That makes you better. But he's a good football player.
Gary.
No comment.
Not even 30 years ago.
He knows the answer to that too.
Your defense is designed.
Do you know the answer to this one too?
No. Your defense is designed to stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. How much does that mindset help you going up against the team like Georgia Tech?
Not much. You got to stop the run. Mindsets are great. Execution, fundamentals, reading your keys, doing the right thing versus the option is critical. And, you got to do it. You got to do what your coaches do. Coaches got to get it coached up, and they're good. And you got to change with, there's coaching going on throughout 4 quarters of this game. It'll be a chess match for sure.